All right, so today we're going on a bit of an unexpected journey. We're going to be exploring how ancient Jewish wisdom, specifically the rituals of Yom Kippur,
Yeah.
can offer some surprising and, I think, really powerful lessons for entrepreneurs.
Yeah, it might seem kind of a stretch at first, like what could an ancient Day of Atonement possibly have to do
Right.
with, the world of startups and venture capital?
Yeah.
But that's where it gets really interesting, I think. The deeper we dig, the more we see these timeless principles that resonate with the challenges that you face every single day building a business.
Well, let's crack open the book of Leviticus, then, shall we?
Let's do it.
We're diving into the nitty-gritty details of Yom Kippur to see how these practices designed for spiritual reflection can actually be reimagined as tools for building a business with integrity and resilience.
Let's start with the core of Yom Kippur, the concept of teshuvah, which is really about genuine self-reflection and acknowledging, where you've fallen short.
Okay.
Now imagine applying that same radical honesty to your business.
Right. So you're saying it's risky.
Right.
In the business world, isn't it always about projecting strength and confidence? Won't admitting weaknesses damage your brand?
That's a great question. And it gets to the heart of why this concept is so powerful. Because you see on Yom Kippur,
Okay.
the focus isn't on hiding flaws. It's about acknowledging them
Right.
as a first step towards growth.
Okay.
What if, instead of sweeping mistakes under the rug, you saw them as incredible opportunities for learning and even for innovation?
So instead of that kind of glossy
Right.
year-in-review presentation, where you highlight all the wins,
Yeah.
you're suggesting entrepreneurs conduct a more honest,
Exactly.
even vulnerable assessment of their wins and losses?
I love that, yeah. Think of it this way.
Okay.
If a ship captain ignores a small leak, it could eventually sink the whole vessel.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
But by acknowledging and addressing even those minor issues, you are ensuring a stronger and more resilient business for the long haul.
Okay, so I'm starting to see how this reframing of mistakes could be a real game changer.
Yeah.
But how often should entrepreneurs engage in this kind of deep self-reflection?
That's where the beauty of this ancient wisdom comes in.
Yeah.
It doesn't prescribe a rigid formula.
Okay.
It offers a framework that you can adapt.
Right.
So instead of waiting for that annual review,
Uh-huh.
what if you integrated mini teshuvah moments into your routine?
I like that.
A weekly check-in where you ask yourself,
Okay.
where did I miss the mark this week?
Uh-huh.
What can I learn from that?
Right.
And what specific action can I take to actually course correct?
I love that idea of micro adjustments
Right.
throughout the year rather than just like one massive overhaul.
Exactly.
It just feels a lot more manageable and sustainable.
And it aligns perfectly with the entrepreneurial mindset,
Right.
constantly iterating, testing, and adapting based on real-time feedback.
Okay, so we've tackled the reflection and confession part.
Okay.
But Yom Kippur is also about purification.
Right.
So how does that translate from an ancient ritual into practical advice for someone building a business today?
So in the context of Yom Kippur, purification involves meticulously cleaning the temple, preparing this sacred space for a fresh start.
Right.
Now, how can we apply that same principle to your workspace, to your business practices?
Okay.
It's about creating an environment that fosters integrity and ethical conduct at every level.
So more than just a clean desk?
Yeah.
You're talking about like cleaning up your act.
Absolutely.
Making sure that your business practices are squeaky clean, ethically sound, and aligned with your core values.
Think of it as doing a deep dive into your supply chain, ensuring ethical sourcing and fair labor practices, or auditing your marketing campaigns to make sure that they're transparent and honest. It's about actively choosing to do business in a way that not only avoids harm, but actively contributes to a better world.
So it's not just about avoiding negative PR.
Right.
It's about building a business that reflects your values.
Yes.
And, that levels of integrity not only resonates with customers, but it can also attract and retain top talent.
Absolutely.
Because people want to work for companies they believe in.
100%. And, this commitment to ethical business practices, this purification process, is what builds trust with investors, partners, and customers.
Right.
It's about building a reputation that goes beyond profit margins.
Yeah.
It's about creating a legacy that you can be proud of.
Now, one of the most intriguing aspects of Yom Kippur is the scapegoat ritual.
Yeah.
I'll admit, it seems a bit out there at first glance.
It does.
So walk us through this one.
So imagine this. A goat, symbolically carrying all of the community's sins and burdens,
Right.
is sent out into the wilderness.
Okay.
It's a powerful visual representation of releasing negativity, of letting go of that which holds you back.
So how do we translate this ancient practice
Right.
into something tangible for a modern-day entrepreneur?
Yeah.
Are we supposed to start sending goats into the wilderness every time a product launch fails?
Not exactly.
Okay.
Although that would certainly make for an interesting team-building exercise.
Right.
Think about a time your business faced a setback.
Yeah.
Maybe a product launch that flopped.
Yeah.
Or a partnership that just completely fell apart.
Yeah.
It's tempting to dwell on those moments, to let them define you and your business, right?
Oh, absolutely. Especially when you've poured your heart and soul into something
Yeah.
and it doesn't go as planned.
Yeah.
It's hard not to take those failures personally.
It really is. And that's where this scapegoat metaphor comes in. Instead of carrying those burdens indefinitely,
Okay.
what if you viewed that setback, that failure, as your scapegoat? Something that you learned from something you released to allow yourself to progress.
So it's not about ignoring or minimizing mistakes. It's about acknowledging them,
Yes.
burning from them, and then consciously letting them go so they don't weigh you down.
Exactly. Holding on to past failures can really paralyze you and prevent you from taking risks and innovating.
Right.
But by embracing the scapegoat concept, by releasing those burdens, you free yourself to move forward, to learn and to grow.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this ancient ritual
Yeah.
can be reframed as a powerful tool for resilience and growth.
It is.
It's like hitting the reset button,
Yeah.
not by erasing the past,
Right.
but by learning from it and moving forward with a renewed sense of purpose.
And that, I think, is one of the most valuable lessons we can glean from Yom Kippur.
Okay.
It's not about punishment or dwelling in guilt.
Right.
It's about transformation and growth.
It's about taking stock of where you've been,
Yeah.
acknowledging your shortcomings, releasing what no longer serves you, and stepping into the future with that renewed sense of purpose and a commitment to integrity.
And that's a foundation for success that goes far beyond balance sheets and profit margins.
We've covered a lot of ground here from, deep self-reflection to ethical business practices and letting go of past failures.
Yeah.
But there's one more key element of Yom Kippur.
Okay.
We need to explore the concept of fasting.
Yes. And you might be wondering
Yeah.
how an ancient practice of abstaining from food could possibly apply to the modern entrepreneur.
Well, I certainly am. I mean,
Yeah.
does this mean we should all start skipping meals
Right.
to achieve business success?
Hold on. Let's unpack this a bit further. The point of fasting on Yom Kippur isn't about deprivation.
Okay.
It's about shifting your focus
Okay.
from the material to the spiritual,
Right.
from the self to something bigger.
So how do we translate that concept of fasting
Right.
into something relevant and actionable
Yeah.
for an entrepreneur?
What if instead of food, we fasted from those things that constantly distract us? Okay. That pull us away from what truly matters in our businesses.
You're talking about a digital detox,
I am.
stepping away from the never-ending stream of emails and notifications and social media updates.
Exactly. What if we embrace this concept of a business fast?
Okay.
A period of time where we disconnect from the non-essential
Okay.
and create space for deep thinking,
Right.
for strategic planning, for reconnecting with our core values and our vision for the future.
Now that's a fast I can get behind.
Right.
It sounds like a radical idea,
It is.
but I have a feeling it could lead to some really powerful insights
I think so.
and a renewed sense of clarity. Tell me more about this business fast.
Well, that's a conversation for after a quick break.
All right.
Stay with us.
We'll be right back.
We'll be right back. So we were just starting to dive into this idea of a business fast,
Right.
inspired by the Yom Kippur tradition of fasting.
It's a concept I think a lot of entrepreneurs could benefit from exploring. We're so used to being constantly on, plugged in, available, that stepping back can feel almost impossible.
It can.
But what does a business fast actually look like in practice?
It's about intentionally carving out time to disconnect
Okay.
from the day-to-day demands of your business
Okay.
and create space for deep strategic thinking.
So imagine this.
Yeah.
You block off a day
Mm-hmm.
Or even just a few hours in your calendar.
Right.
No emails, no meetings, no calls,
Okay.
no scrolling through social media.
Yeah, it's not just about putting your phone on Do Not Disturb.
Right.
It's about creating a true separation from that constant stream of information and demands that come with running a business.
I imagine it could feel a bit unsettling at first, that
Yeah.
urge to check your inbox
But
or respond to that urgent message.
Right.
But could that discomfort actually be a sign that we need this
uh,
kind of disconnect?
It's like hitting the pause button on the whirlwind of daily operations
Right.
and giving yourself permission to step back and reflect.
Yeah.
It's in that space, that stillness, that new ideas often emerge.
Yeah.
That clarity of vision returns.
Could you give us some specific examples of what entrepreneurs could focus on during this business fast?
Think about it this way. Yom Kippur is a time for introspection,
Okay.
for examining your actions and making amends.
Right.
So during your business fast, you might consider questions like,
Okay.
am I truly living up to my company's stated values? Are my business practices aligned with my personal ethics?
Right.
What impact is my business having on the world, and is it the impact I want to be making?
So it sounds like this fast could be a really powerful tool for
So.
not only assessing the what of your business, but also the why.
Absolutely.
Reconnecting with your purpose, your motivations, and ensuring that they're still driving your decisions.
It's about aligning your actions with your values,
Right.
ensuring that your business is a reflection of who you are and what you stand for.
I'm also thinking about the scapegoat ritual that we discussed earlier.
Yes.
Could this business fast also be a time to identify those burdens, those past mistakes or failures that we're still carrying,
Absolutely.
and consciously choose to release them?
It's about acknowledging those experiences, extracting the lessons learned, and then, like the scapegoat,
Yeah.
letting them go so they don't hinder your progress.
So it's almost like a mental decluttering.
Yes.
Creating space for new ideas and opportunities to emerge.
Exactly.
Now, we've talked a lot about the individual benefits
Yeah.
of applying these Yom Kippur principles to business.
Right.
But could there be broader implications?
Mhm.
Could embracing these concepts actually lead to a shift in business culture as a whole?
That's a fascinating question.
Yeah.
Imagine a business world where integrity,
Yeah.
self-reflection, and ethical conduct were not just buzzwords,
Right.
but core operating principles, where success wasn't measured solely by profit margins,
Okay.
but also by the positive impact a company has on its employees, its community, and the world at large.
It's a compelling vision,
It is.
and one that feels increasingly relevant in today's world,
Yeah.
where consumers are demanding more transparency and accountability
Sure.
from the companies they support.
Absolutely. And think about the potential impact on company culture.
Right.
Imagine workplaces where vulnerability is seen as a strength,
Wow.
where mistakes are viewed as learning opportunities,
Yeah.
and where open dialogue and ethical decision-making are encouraged at every level.
It sounds like a shift from a culture of fear and blame
Yeah.
to one of trust, collaboration, and continuous improvement.
Yes. And couldn't that in turn lead to greater innovation and creativity?
It certainly feels like a possibility.
It does.
When people feel safe to take risks, to experiment, to learn from their mistakes,
Right.
they're more likely to come up with groundbreaking ideas and solutions. This idea of applying Yom Kippur principles to business really has me thinking about the interconnectedness of things.
Yes.
It's not just about separating our personal lives from our professional lives.
Right.
It's about recognizing that our values, our ethics, should inform everything we do,
Yeah.
including how we build and run our businesses.
It's about creating a more holistic approach to business.
Right.
One that integrates personal growth, ethical conduct, and a commitment to making a positive impact.
Now, you mentioned that Yom Kippur is also about recognizing our reliance on something greater than ourselves.
Yes.
How does that translate to the often individualistic world of entrepreneurship?
So in the context of Yom Kippur,
Yeah.
it's about acknowledging our dependence on a higher power.
Okay.
But for entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
it can be about recognizing that success is rarely, if ever, a solo endeavor.
Okay.
We rely on our teams, our mentors, our investors, our families, even our communities to support us on our journeys.
So it's about shifting from a mindset of, I did it all myself, to
Right.
one of gratitude and acknowledging the contributions of others.
Exactly. It's about recognizing the interconnectedness of things, the web of support that enables us to achieve our goals.
Okay.
And it's about cultivating humility.
Right.
Understanding that we don't have all the answers.
Right.
and being willing to ask for help when we need it.
This idea of interconnectedness makes me think about the concept of purifying our business practices,
Yes.
which we discussed earlier.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about our individual actions.
Right.
It's about the ripple effects
Yes.
those actions have on others.
It's about acknowledging that our choices as business leaders have consequences.
Right.
Not only for our companies, but for our employees, our customers, our communities, and the environment.
So it's about expanding our circle of responsibility,
Yeah.
recognizing that our actions impact a much wider sphere than we
Shit.
might initially realize.
And that brings us to a crucial point.
Okay.
Yom Kippur is not just a day of atonement. It's also a day of forgiveness.
I'm curious, how does forgiveness play into this framework of entrepreneurial atonement? Are we talking about forgiving ourselves for our mistakes?
Yes.
Or forgiving others who may have wronged us in business?
It's about both, and even more. It's about cultivating a culture of forgiveness within our businesses.
Okay.
Understanding that everyone makes mistakes,
Right.
and that holding on to grudges or resentment only hinders progress.
So it's about creating a space where people feel safe to admit their mistakes,
Yes.
to learn from them,
Yes.
and to move forward without fear of retribution.
Exactly. And it's about extending that same grace to ourselves.
Okay.
Releasing the guilt and shame that can hold us back from reaching our full potential.
This conversation has been incredibly insightful.
It's been great.
I'm already starting to rethink some of my own approaches to business.
I love that.
But before we get too deep into my personal reflections,
Sure.
I'm curious to hear more about the practical steps entrepreneurs can take to integrate these Yom Kippur principles into their daily lives and their businesses. Where do we start?
You know, you've given us a lot to think about.
Yeah,
I'm ready to put these ideas into action.
I think a lot of people are.
I think so too.
So what are some tangible steps entrepreneurs can take
Yeah.
to actually integrate these Yom Kippur principles into their businesses? Where do we even start?
You know, you don't need a ram's horn or a prayer shawl to get started.
Okay.
Remember that first principle of teshuvah, the deep self-reflection?
Yeah.
It's about making that a regular practice, not just a once-a-year event.
So instead of waiting for that annual performance review,
Right.
you're suggesting entrepreneurs build in those teshuva moments more frequently.
Exactly. Think about incorporating a business audit into your quarterly planning.
Okay.
And don't just look at the numbers,
Right.
but reflect on your decisions.
Okay.
Ask yourself, were my actions aligned with my values? Where could I have done better? What did I learn that can inform my future choices?
So it's like holding up a mirror to your business and asking those tough questions.
Yes.
But this time, you're not just looking at the bottom line.
Right.
You're assessing the integrity of your operations as well.
Yes. It's about being brutally honest with yourself.
Okay.
Not for the sake of self-flagellation,
Right.
but for growth.
Right.
And remember, this isn't a solo exercise.
Okay.
Invite your team to participate.
Okay.
Create a culture where feedback is welcomed
Yeah.
and where mistakes are seen as opportunities for learning and improvement.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
If you want a truly honest assessment,
Yeah.
you need diverse perspectives.
You do.
Plus, engaging your team in this process can foster a sense of shared responsibility for upholding those ethical standards.
100%. And don't forget about that business fast we talked about.
Right.
It can be an incredibly powerful tool for gaining clarity and reconnecting with your core purpose.
Yeah.
Block out time in your schedule and unplug from the daily grind.
Okay.
Disconnect from technology. Step away from the demands of your inbox and create space for deep reflection.
It sounds almost counterintuitive
I know, right?
in today's hyper-connected world
It does.
to intentionally disconnect.
Yeah.
But you're suggesting that by stepping back, we might actually gain a clearer perspective on how to move forward.
It's about creating space for those aha moments.
Right.
Those flashes of insight that often come when we allow our minds to quiet down and wander.
So during this business fast,
Yeah.
what should entrepreneurs be focusing on?
Right.
What questions should they be asking themselves?
Think back to those core principles we've been discussing.
Okay.
Are you living up to your company's stated values?
Mm.
Are your business practices ethically sound? Are you making decisions that benefit not just your bottom line, but also your employees, your customers, and the wider community?
It's about evaluating not just the what of your business,
Right.
but also the why.
Yes.
Are your actions aligned with your purpose, your vision for the impact you want to make in the world?
Exactly. And remember that concept of the scapegoat.
Right.
Use this time to identify Those burdens, those past mistakes or failures that you're still carrying,
Okay.
write them down, reflect on the lessons learned, and then, like that scapegoat, symbolically release them.
It's about acknowledging those experiences, extracting the wisdom they offer,
Uh-huh.
and then letting them go so they don't hinder your future growth.
Yes.
It's almost like a mental decluttering,
It is.
creating space for new ideas and opportunities to emerge.
I love that, and brother. And don't forget the importance of forgiveness.
Right.
Extend grace to yourself for past missteps.
Okay.
Forgive those who may have wronged you in business.
Okay.
Cultivate a culture of forgiveness within your team, understanding that everyone makes mistakes.
It's about creating an environment where people feel safe to be vulnerable, to admit their shortcomings, and to learn from their experiences without fear of judgment or retribution.
100%. And finally, remember that you don't have to do this alone.
Okay.
Reach out to mentors, advisors, or fellow entrepreneurs who can offer support and guidance.
This entire conversation has been like hitting the reset button for me,
Oh, good.
prompting me to take a fresh look at how I approach business, how I lead my team, and how I measure success.
And that's the beauty of these ancient principles.
Right.
They offer a timeless framework for building a business and a life based on integrity, resilience, and continuous growth.
It's not about achieving some perfect state of atonement,
Right.
but rather about embracing the ongoing process of self-reflection,
Yes.
learning, and striving to do better each day.
It's about integrating these principles into the very fabric of your business so that they become not just a set of rules, but a way of being.
It's about building a business that's not just profitable,
Right.
and also ethical, sustainable, and fulfilling.
A business that you can be truly proud of.
Well, I think that's a perfect note to end on. This deep dive into entrepreneurial atonement has given us all a lot to think about
It has.
and even more to act on. Thanks for joining us.